Welcome to Wizard Team, a Black magical podcast for Black magical stories.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Robyn, and Porshèa embarking on a journey through the many fantasy stories written by and about Black people. Currently, we're reading Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, and today we're discussing chapter 16.
Happy Black Magical History Month. So to start it off, what did we discuss in chapter 15 of Amari and the Night Brothers? We talked about Amari going on a prison mission, which started with the adults in the room saying, "Oh yeah, now that you've just said that indicated your interest in actually like going to talk to Moreau, let's go do that right now." And so that's immediately what Amari has on her plate. Going to talk to the biggest magical villain in this world in less than 2 minutes.
I mean, they
said
probably
you
gave her
got
like
it.
2 hours.
Yeah,
They gave her a couple hours.
She got at least 30 minutes.
I mean, come on now.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry. So sorry.
She got a briefing.
Speed briefing.
They said welcome to level 7. And
here's Lord Quinton to take you on your way.
This is all you need, kid. You're all good.
You need some support? Here's this elevator. Good luck.
The same elevator who called you a street urchin for stepping up to it. Like that same one.
He said you can't even spell unicorn.
Right. Though this time this elevator is a little bit more, apologetic for his earlier ways. He's seen the error in his ways because he misjudged Amari, and is willing to like let that be known, like is going to be the bigger AI in this moment and be like, hey, I read you wrong, kid. That's my bad. You're really brave for taking this on. And this is something I meant to mention before. It's very interesting that the AI is programmed to think that Amari getting into this venture is a brave thing instead of a reckless thing that perhaps should be given more thought.
I mean, he's a clout chaser, so, he's like, nah, this is brave, and I'm about to tell all of my passengers about this momentous moment in my career as the Lord of the Elevator.
He was like, you might be running this department one day, and the last thing I want is for you to decommission me and get a new elevator. So,
my bad.
Let me lay the groundwork now. We go way back.
He's an elevator. He's a track star. That's what's going. And the elevator track stars are already down.
I'm sorry. We can't just say that and not. Oh my God. Okay. Wow.
The elevator then track stars Amari down to Moreau's chamber, past the demons that she's in the dark, past things that are just moving and shaking and scaring her. Amari gets down to Moreau, finds an old man in a rocking chair who uses his ability to make illusions to show her great wonders as well as some hybrids that could be her hybrids, where she chooses to side with the magicians and the side of using your powers to get back at your haters, basically all of them. And Amari does consider it. She has a moment where she's like, that would be cute. Like I could get on the Grants and the Van Helsings of the world. That would be really cute for me. However, actually, I'm not about that life. And whether it's a performance on her end, whether it's a performance on Moreau's end in the way that he's being creepy and throwing things at her willy-nilly without actively trying to cajole her based on what he knows about her, saying initially that she would never want to hurt anyone, we are yet to see. And with that, we set ourselves up for chapter 16.
Wow, that was masterful. And hilarious.
It was hilarious. I tried my hardest to keep it together.
So now we're at the debriefing. She was briefed and now she's being debriefed, which sounds like wild. Sorry for saying it like that. Anyway, so she's like hurrying over so fast that she almost runs over director Van Helsing, who isn't amused, but who cares? He sucks,
Who cares?
and so do his kids. So they go in the debriefing room, which is really small, the size of a closet. And so Amari says immediately when she sees Magnus and Fiona, what was Quinton working on? What did Moreau mean when he said he was looking into something he shouldn't? What did my brother find that got him kidnapped? And so
says,
this
I have
part is kind of like
questions.
honestly disappointing to me. So Magnus is like, Vanquish worked directly under me. If he or Maria were looking into anything out of the ordinary, I'd know about it.
You think?
Fiona's like, we believe Moreau was merely mocking us.
So does Luna.
Mm-hmm. Tell him, girl.
And it's like, at most, it was an attempt to turn you against the Bureau and recruit you to your to his way of thinking. So that's kind of it. They don't really like take what he said with any like as anything worth looking into, which is like, so then why
that Amari knows, so
yeah, I mean, I guess it is possible that they're trying to keep her in the dark, but it did also kind of like there have been other moments where they make a face or they look at each other or something, you know what I mean, where it can be clear that they're not that they're keeping
being
something from
truthful.
her. Yeah, and in this case it kind of felt like, I don't know, it kind of felt like they just are like, none of this is useful, instead
not
of
taking
looking
him
into it,
seriously.
like not taking it seriously.
Well, I think that there's also something about like, and you get the sense, especially from like Van Helsing, and possibly just like everyone in the Bureau of Supernatural Investigations, the Department of Supernatural Investigations, if not the Bureau as a whole, which is that they know everything and they are the like keepers of truth and like are on top of everything and not in the dark, you know what I mean? And there's nothing kind of about, at least about the supernatural world that they can learn. And it's very like arrogant. Even if it's not dishonest, it's just this like sense of like superiority, and they are the end all be all of like supernatural life, which is, especially with when you're dealing with someone like Moreau, can be very dangerous because you're then like discounting or ignoring things that could help you actually like learn.
Yeah, like it's very black and white. They're very like, this is what is and this is what isn't. And then things that like kind of
challenge
show, yeah, they just kind of seem to either ignore or just kind of like
have an excuse for.
For me, I'm questioning whether it's oversight or if it's a front. Like, is it like what you were saying, that they just like have oversight, that they're not actively like questioning and probing where they should be? Or are they putting on a front for Amari's sake or whatever? Like, they're acting like they have it all together, but they actually know that like they have things under wraps that they don't really want to share with her, like how on top or off top they are on these things.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like maybe it's a little bit of both, but like one thing is like Amari says, like, you know, Moreau promised to tell the truth, and they're just so easily dismissing it as like him lying or exaggerating. And I think about this because I've been reading a lot of historical mysteries in which like the elite kind of nobility has this like thing about like not lying, like gentlemen do not lie or nobility do not lie, so they take everything as face value. And like the reason why I enjoy reading these historical mysteries and stuff is like, well, he said this, and you're like, people like, if you murdered someone, telling a lie doesn't seem to be like, you know, like that, like beyond the pale. But because it's like the kind of the cornerstone of their society and like the way that those things work, they don't ever like kind of think about the possibility that someone is lying. And it seems like a no-go zone. And I kind of felt like that with Moreau in terms of like, there's like an honor, like there's no point in saying like, you know, we're going to be completely truthful if you know that you're not going to be completely truthful, or if that's like easily, or if you say things that are like kind of easily disproven. So I kind of do believe that he was telling the truth. Like there's ways also, you know, I love me some Faye. There's ways to manipulate the truth. There's ways to be truthful and still kind of like, you know, mislead someone with the truth, but they just seem to kind of wave it off as like he's lying or he's trying to manipulate you, and not even like maybe he's trying to manipulate her yet, or like yes, he's definitely trying to manipulate her, but maybe he's also doing that with the truth, and you guys need to look into it.
Yeah, and like y'all both said, like it's possible they just are not telling her everything that they actually believe. But yeah, it definitely just felt like, okay, y'all did all
Very
that
dismissive.
to do what? Yeah. So then Amari's like, well, what about what he said about regaining what was taken? Is that an item? Is it the item of immense destruction that y'all won't tell me about? Moreau seemed pretty sure he could get it even without trading Vanquish. Fiona winces and Magnus looks smug and is like, this was your idea. So Fiona's like, that item is none of your concern. Just know we have taken every possible precaution to keep it safe. And Amari is kind of like, her head is kind of spinning. She's like, so not everything was a lie, but couldn't that also mean that none of it was a lie? Moreau made such a big deal of telling each other the truth. And then Amari's like, he said he would destroy this place. Aren't you worried? And Magnus is like, bunch of mumbo jumbo. This place is a fortress. Nothing in the known or supernatural world can harm it. Which, again, it's like,
that just seems
it just is like dismissive. It doesn't really make sense. Like this dude, his apprentice set 30 hybrids on y'all outpost, and you've never seen that many hybrids in one place and before, but suddenly it's like
beyond
unheard of.
Believe us that we got it. But my thing is like, so here's my thing. We were talking about like Amari's personality, what motivates her may not motivate us, but like is part of her personality, whatever. I was thinking about like, is this even a thing about the supernatural investigations personality type? Would they want a recruit who would just blithely believe that authorities have everything in hand and like not need some kind of proof that everything was working? Like, why are they acting like this is something that like they should expect from her to like be completely okay with, when like ideally they probably wouldn't even want to recruit who would just be like, oh no, everything's fine. Because then like you can, then if they're out in the field, if another authority is like, oh no, everything's fine, like that's all it takes for them to like be won over. That doesn't make any sense, especially for an investigation kind of type of personality. So I don't see how they could think that this would be feasibly something that would help Amari move on from this conversation.
Yeah. And also like, they know she's launched her own investigation. Like, if you're trying to dissuade her from doing that, it needs to be more than I'm just not going to tell you. You know what I mean? Or like, don't worry about it. Like, you have to give her a real reason to feel like, oh, this is a dead end. But instead they're just kind of like, trust us. We're safe and, like, here. Trust us.
And I'm like, after you trusted Amari, who is young and is no more than a trainee, to go talk to this like level A Omega level villain, and yet you don't trust her enough to give her anything more than trust us. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to what you were saying about like their willingness to use her as a tool, but not accept her. Partially, I think that's ageism and like she's a child. And partially it's, you know, she's a magician and they don't actually trust her as much as they say they do. And then because she's, you know, not sneaky, and they know that her end goal is to find Quinton, and so they don't want her to be too reckless in that pursuit. So I think there's like a lot of reasons why, it's kind of like a trust us thing. For Magnus, it seems pretty clearly like he doesn't want to give her more ammunition to be reckless than, she already has. But I also feel like there is a way in which you can give her something, while being mindful of all of those different things.
Yeah, I think they just can't really make up their mind. Like,
yeah.
And I do I guess I appreciate that it's a like difficult and weird situation, but it definitely, at least Magnus and Fiona are very torn between like doing their job, watching out for Amari, and really even within that, like it clashes. Those two things clash, but then also like the even within that, like there are a lot of different things that they could do. You know what I mean? Like it feels like they're trying to keep her in the dark, but also they need her, and like they're trying to like.
And they're also fighting amongst themselves too, right?
They don't. I don't think any of them really know what they're doing.
They are not on the same page. So.
No. And like I guess in some ways it is a good like. It's not like the adults know best, which is not just like most. Not to say that like many middle grades are that way, but I think it is like kind of showing how messy this is, because it's just like they can't really decide what they want to do. They don't actually have very much information. They're just as scared as like the kids that they just brought in, you know what I mean? Like, so it feels like, again, it feels dismissive to me, but I can also appreciate that they also don't really know what's going, like there's not much they can say or really know to say.
Yeah.
So Amari wasn't supposed to tell anybody what happened with Moreau, but of course that means that as soon as she saw Elsie, she spilled the beans. I love that for them. So
I do too.
Elsie is like, Elsie asks what Amari's thinking, and Amari's just wondering if, like, again, what if Moreau was telling the truth? What if he's so sure about his plan that he doesn't care who knows? And Amari's like, I think he knew the Bureau wouldn't take his threat seriously because he's locked away. But maybe you and I should, but again, it's like the adults have not swayed Amari from like continuing what her plan is, right? Like they're not doing a good job of that. But anyway, we're on to step 3. Let's go. Launching our own investigation. So they're trying to figure out kind of where they start. Amari says that she's going to try to figure out what Quinton might have found that got him taken, because it might help find Moreau's apprentice. And then Elsie will try to research what the item of immense destructive power could be. And which is like, it's nice that they're kind of like playing to their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the tasks are still like, it's not like they're easy. They're easier said than done for sure. But yeah, I appreciate that they're just like, okay, I'll just do the thing that's like easiest for me.
And I love that Elsie's starting point is the library.
Exactly. She's like, and she's like, even if there's nothing in the main library, I got a couple other like. She's not like putting everything on the library. She's just like, that's my first stop. And then after that, I got
have
a
my
couple
ways
more.
of gaining knowledge.
Exactly.
Whether it's in the library or not.
She's a genius inventor, okay? She might just mess around and create an immense destructive power detector.
Right.
So yeah, so Amari's like, the more we know, the better. And then Elsie's like, be careful. Now we're the ones looking into stuff we aren't supposed to. Which is a good point. Like they're officially looking for what they suspect is the thing that got Quinton
Vanquish.
That got Vanquish, like, not to mention the trouble they could get in with the Bureau. So
Elsie's already on thin ice as a were-dragon, and Amari's
exactly.
a magician. Like
so they're
right
very
there.
much like, we definitely got to be careful. We can't get caught. But but Amari's like, we won't. We can't. So we won't. So the next morning we're back to training. We are getting our first lesson on sky sprints. But Amari's also like still kind of thinking about Blackstone Prison. She's having a hard time not thinking about it. Which is, understandable. She's thinking about the hybrids, you know what I mean? Like, what about Moreau's plan? Like, there's just a lot going on. But again, she's like, concentrate. If you fail the tryouts, it won't matter what Moreau said.
I love a self pep talk. Like, when you just be like, I need to get it together.
Yeah.
Like, girl, what are you doing?
Come on. Yep.
One step at a
I
time.
be having those moments. Sometimes I'm just like, stop. Like, he's like, you start freaking out. You're like, no, wait. You don't need to do all this. It's cool. It's not always easy to get there, but occasionally you're able to just be like,
Sometimes you be getting in a mode and you just be like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And you be like, you know what? Maybe I ain't gotta do all of that. Maybe I can
maybe take a breath. Maybe prioritize, You gotta.
I sometimes think that that's like the best way to like center yourself too, is be like, okay, well, you can't do none of this until you do this one thing. So let's just park all of that.
Pump your brakes.
Like, first of all, don't you have a headache? Like, I sure do. Okay, so let's take care of that.
Yeah.
Are you hungry? Let's go.
One thing at a time. Like,
one thing at a time.
Yeah. And again, like, I also appreciate, like we talked about at the beginning of last episode, like when we were speculating about what the other trainees could be doing while she was talking to Moreau, but like, again, having to weigh the like what's more important in this moment in the investigation. But now she's talked to Moreau. Now she got to pass these tryouts, because if she don't pass the tryouts, she can't really do nothing.
Nothing else.
The plans are done. Plans are over with. So she focuses on Magnus's lecture, and so he's talking about these boots that give the wearer the ability to walk horizontally across open air, run up walls, and hang upside down from ceilings. So they're kind of like if you had chakra from like Naruto, then you can just they like to run. They like to soar through forests instead of like walking.
It's also like air stepping. And Avatar: Last Airbender and the Kyoshi series, they do air stepping, and it's exquisite.
I am glad that you guys both said these things, even though I don't go to Naruto, but I've seen a little bit of it. Fun fact, my niece did like the Naruto ninja run. I think just like, obviously she's never seen Naruto. She's a year old, but I think just like
naturally.
I think my brother was doing it yesterday too, and Ami was like, "Why are you running like Naruto?" And I'm like, "Well, he's also only a year old, so he don't know."
He probably just likes how it feels. They just talk about how it feels to have your arms
the wind under my tails. But yeah, I for the life of me, I was like, I cannot visualize these sky sprints at all, and so that was very helpful. Thank you guys. That was gonna be like my little piece in this moment. Was like, I can't visualize this. What do you mean walk in the air? So you can go this way, but you can't go up higher.
I think you probably okay. You have to set it up. Another one, we've all seen this. This is not a spoiler for Wakanda Forever. It's on Disney Plus. By the time y'all had 2 weeks. By the time this episode comes out, but it's like Namor and his wings,
his feet.
So you know how he like is. It looks like he's going up steps or like kind of skating low key, like when he's moving in the air. I think of it like that. Like those, like he has those shoes, and he like if you need to get from the ground up, you're kind of like climbing.
You have
know
to
what I mean?
Go with momentum. You have to create the path.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. But okay,
so you're not like a bird. You can't have like the air.
Yeah, you're not just kind of like coming up, but you're just kind of like, okay, I'm running.
Scoot it.
Yeah, you're like, I'm running. Okay, now let's maybe you probably got to get like a running start and
get some height.
Get some height up, and then all of a sudden you're in the air. So When used correctly, they'll give you an advantage over a great many ground-based nasties. And which makes me think of Raven from That's a Raven. But anyway, and if you
Can
encounter,
you imagine every time you see a thing like in a field, you're like, you like, nasty, like you just like go after it.
I love the idea of the monsters being called nasties.
Nasties, so. Yeah.
You're nasties.
Yeah, and if you encounter one that can fly, you'd better be right strong in your technique, because these here sky sprints will be your only chance. So there's another moment of just like seeing the differences in both class and also just like having known this world, right? So most of the kids already have their own sky sprints. They look cool. They're super expensive. Like the Van Helsings have these shiny chrome boots with the Du Bois written on cursive on the sides. Others wear Laboom, which I really like. These names are hilarious. Which are made of polished wood. So like they got these like designer sky sprints that they just had to pop out for the class, and then Amari and two others are going to use like the pair of standard issue that are like provided for them. But
so this is like the one thing that like confuses me about this world is like, even though, like you said, like there's this class divide and some of these kids already have sky sprints and stuff, like they don't though have their supernatural potential unlocked. So like anyone, like I'm thinking that like Mama Peters, if she runs across a pair of sky sprints, could put them on and they would work for her. She just didn't know how to use them.
I think that it's
you don't need to
you don't need your supernatural ability to have that. You know what I mean? And some kids, one of them kids is like supernatural ability to organize things like that. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just a regular like maybe they have a sport in the supernatural world where you use them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna bring up the fact. My thing is like they told them kids they didn't have to bring nothing with them, and we knew the kids who had things were gonna bring things with them. That's fine, but I don't know why Amari couldn't go to her magical closet and have some decent looking sky sprints there.
Them things expensive and proprietary,
but decent looking. Why they gotta be stinky? Like why can't you just have a regular pair that are fit her size?
I feel like you could do that with like clothing where it kind of has like a what's the word I'm thinking of, like a glamour on it, so it looks like, it's all just like a piece of clothing that fits you, but there's like it looks like however they want it to look, and that glamour magic is a little bit cheaper than like having these like, this is actually like a piece of technology, which is expensive.
I just find it suspicious.
I'm trying to give you an answer. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay. So, yeah, Amari's look like worn out sneakers and smell like feet, so that's gross. But she finds that it doesn't act like that doesn't actually matter in terms of like learning how to use them. Being like having the designer ones and like doesn't really make a difference. It's just a matter of like how it looks. So after about an hour, she's keeping up with the legacy kids, regardless of what she has on. So it's not like it gives them a advantage, I guess the word is.
Which is nice.
Yeah. And it's got to be like reassuring too. It's like you don't actually need that. So after about 3 hours, she's able to walk across open air without losing her balance. At noon, Magnus has them take a shot at a practice course that the agents use. It's called the Invisible Bridge. So it's essentially 2 diving boards on either sides of the room, and then in between it is a bunch of like punching bags. Excuse me, doing like the pendulum thing, and so like at the beginning they're moving slow, and like as it progresses, it's moving like
faster and
ridiculously
fast. This reminds me of MTV's The Challenge, and I think about like how great it would be if they had sky sprints.
Yeah,
this is very much a like TJ Lavin says, best time wins $10,000 and a $100,000 gift card to Best Buy or whatever they used to give them.
That just reminds me how long it's been since I've watched The Gauntlet, which was like so many seasons ago.
They didn't
get $100,000. They had $100,000 gift card to Best Buy.
It wasn't like $100,000, but they would like each challenge. I would
be so mad.
Like if
each individual episode
won the challenge, they would end up getting money.
Okay,
but like each individual challenge, and it wouldn't be $100,000, but it'd be like a $2,000 gift card to Best Buy.
Okay,
or they love to give out. Love to give out like Nokia sidekicks for a minute. Like everybody was getting a sidekick or a Zoom.
Word.
The Zooms were hot.
I just needed to make sure because I was just like, I'm sorry. At a certain
it was never
level,
you're
you can't tell me where I spend this
money. Giving away a gift card. It's
just like at a certain level of like money, you can't tell me where I'm spending it. Like that would make me mad. Yeah. Under 5,000, sure. At a specific spot, especially if it makes sense for like the show, cool. This is a tangent, but whatever. I just had to know.
that was an exaggeration on my part, but this does like I do
take things literally, but yeah. I've also never seen the show, so.
Oh, you got to. It's all on Paramount Plus.
Okay. Let's get back
to Amari.
Yes. So it looks crazy, honestly, but it's optional. So Magnus is like, who wants to give it a shot? Only 5 hands go up. So the Van Helsing twins, Amari does, because she's kind of like, it might be and she says it might be her first chance to shine as a trainee. Or fall flat on her face.
She's slightly strategic. She's like, I'm either going to soar or I'm going to fall. I'm Icarus out here.
One or the other. It's only 2 options. It's fine. And then there's 2 others who also volunteer. But so
Magnus don't matter because we.
We'll hear about them.
We hear about them, but also, they're neither good nor bad. They're not Amari's friends, and they're not.
That's what we care about right now.
We don't need them like we may or may not need the Van Helsings. So
we need Amari to have allies, and if they're not on her side, then we don't care.
At New Balance, we believe if you run, you're a runner. However you choose to do it. Because when you're not worried about doing things the right way, you're free to discover your way. And that's what running's all about. Run your way at newbalance.com/running.
Black Magical History Month is in full effect, and the content keeps giving, if we do say so ourselves.
We've interviewed Crystal Marquis, author of The Davenports, over on Instagram Live, hosted a panel, Fantasy More Than Escape, over on Twitter Spaces, and we've been kikiing with all of you every day with our Black Magical History Month daily challenge over on socials. And there's still so much to come.
None of this would be possible without our BNC baddies over on Patreon. With your support, we're able to make space for and celebrate Black fans and creatives. Plus, baddies get cute little perks like monthly live streams, behind the scenes, and bonus content.
To support your favorite nerds and our mission, become a baddie today over at patreon.com/blacknerdscreate. And shout out to our BNC baddies who have been participating so far this month.
Okay, so Magnus sends them all outside, or the 5 of them outside, so that they don't, basically saying that like it's not fair to the first volunteer to have to let everyone else watch, basically.
See it. Yeah. This is very challenge, man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the Van Helsings move to the back of the line, so she has no choice but to take the spot behind them. So for a second, she thinks that Lara might, be focused on on completing the obstacle course and leave her alone. But, life doesn't always
Laura said, I can multitask.
So she's like, nice sky sprints. Those might be the first pair ever made. And so Amari's like, over it. Like, what's wrong with you? So she's like, what's your problem with me? I get that you don't like magicians. No one does. But you're the only person who's made it their life's mission to annoy me, which is a good point. Like, everybody else is kind of just minded their business. They haven't, stuck up for her. They haven't, been great with her, but they haven't been actively antagonizing her the way that Lara has. And Lara crosses her arms like you don't know. And Amari's like, no,
Honestly, I don't.
I just got here. She's like, this is only my third day out here. Like, what are you talking about?
And then secondly,
you have a year.
Like,
secondly, you know that I don't know anything because you've been using that against me this whole time.
Literally this whole time. So then Amari's like, is it because I'm getting all this attention? Because I don't actually want this attention. You can have it. And then she's like, I had got over 2 million followers over on like their social media site. I've got all the attention.
Then go annoy them.
Like, please chase a bag.
Get a life.
Like, Amari's like, my brother and your sister were partners. Shouldn't we try to be friends? Your brother is the reason my sister wasn't there to watch me get my badge. The reason she's never come back.
Is that why
and
she exists? To watch you?
Hello. Like, this is the thing. Like,
but also,
so I understand, like,
you gotta blame Quinton.
Amari? Like, so first of all, there's a lot of different things here. I mostly want to focus on, like, what Porshèa said, like, on the fact that it's the first thing is it's the reason she wasn't there to watch me get my badge. Not your brother is the reason my sister disappeared. Like, I get that she's upset, and like I would be too, like everybody, upset that your sibling is gone, but her frame of reference for like what that means for her life is
so selfish,
skewed and very selfish. But then she's like, if Quinton hadn't convinced Maria to help him on some secret case, she'd still be here. She never even liked being a special agent. She wanted to be a trainer like Agent Fiona, but your brother would always convince her to come back. And when she finally ignored him and put in her transfer papers, he guilted her into helping one last time. No one's seen them since. These family members are very open, but but also like I don't know why she would expect Amari to know this.
To know that, or why why that's on Amari.
I ain't got nothing to do with her.
Why does her sister not have any agency is what I need to know.
Yeah, like there are just a lot of questions I have, and I just feel like
Quinton. We already know Quinton's supernatural ability was like a super genius, like
right,
not some like super.
He wasn't like a
master manipulator.
Master manipulator, right?
He didn't have that power where you could just like talk to people and immediately they just do whatever they go in a trance, like a glamour. Right. Like he's on a glamour.
Jedi mind tricks. That was his supernatural power. Apparently.
This is a quick sidebar. Where would I find anything about Jedi mind tricks? Like I've heard it as a topic. I don't think I've ever seen it in any of their actual stuff. Like
it happens in the first one in A New Hope when he's like, you already searched this vehicle, and then the guy's like, we've already searched this vehicle.
Oh.
And then I don't know if they do it in other settings. I can't think off the top of my head, but
I think it happened with Clones where he was like, where he went, I think it was Attack of the Clones when Obi-Wan was in I think I've only really seen Obi-Wan do it, but in the they were in that pub or whatever, and dude was trying to sell him drugs, and he was like, you don't want to sell me these, whatever they were called, like, you don't want to sell me these, you want to go home and rethink your life, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan be doing it.
Ray might have. I haven't seen those in a long time.
I've only seen those once
much.
too.
Yeah.
Ray just like knowing stage 8 Jedi tricks. Okay. Sure. Skywalker.
So Amari though, her so after Lara, unburdens all of this on her, Amari is kind of like, she's also making clicks in her head though, you know what I mean? She's like, this sounds like what Monroe was talking about, and like I gotta what's the word? Like
tell Elsie.
No, not I gotta tell Elsie, but like I gotta like somebody to like corroborate what he was saying. Yeah. And so, but yeah, also tell Elsie. So then she's like, Magnus said he'd know if Vanquish was working on something, but maybe they kept it from a secret from him too. Which is like, duh, that's the obvious like
Right?
come
That
on,
was,
not for her, but I mean for Magnus to be like, I know everything going on with Vanquish. I'm like, sir, are you for real? Like, you don't think this
again?
like,
be for real?
Yeah, and they're like teenagers, aren't they? Or they maybe at
Obviously
the
you
oldest.
don't.
At the oldest, they're like in their early 20s. You think they're not keeping secrets? Like, come on, Magnus.
Especially if the bureaus, if the Department of Supernatural Investigations whole through line continually is, as they're giving Amari, we got this handled, we know what's going on. Why would they tell you?
Yep.
Come on. So Amari's like, I didn't know, which again, duh, of course she didn't know.
Would
Lara,
she?
like,
if Magnus doesn't know, why would Amari know?
So, a loud ooh comes from inside the training gym. So they all like kind of peek to see what happened. Or really, so Lara lets Dylan pull her away, and then she peeks in time to see Brian Lee lying on the floor rubbing his shoulder. Magnus is like, bobbed when you should have weaved, and then gives him an ice pack. Billy Pogo's next.
Can we also, sorry, 1 second, talk about how that is the most useless advice? Bobbed when you should. What is a bob and what is a weave?
Because a bob is
like bob and weave.
Like a bob is bobbing for apples. Like it's like a motion, like you're back and forth, like bobbing in, bobbing out.
You don't know. He was just trying to give you something. He was just like, sucks a suck, kid.
That is useless.
But I feel like weaving is like a zigzag kind of thing. Like what was it? What is the kid Stark? Rickard Stark should have done whenever he was on the field trying to run to Jon Snow. He should have been weaving, but he was bobbing, and that's on him.
Good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know I quit Game of Thrones early. And then never went back. But I believe you, Porshèa.
He definitely should have. He did not bob or weave.
He did not bob or weave.
Did he die?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Because he didn't bob or weave. He didn't do either. So Lara and Amari, they don't talk again.
Good.
Amari does kind of like feel like Lara's probably telling the truth. Like she has also been someone who's been like convinced by Quinton to do things. But again, like it's not like Maria is grown enough. To make her.
Can I just say, like, my thing with Laura is like, and the reason why I like her as a character, not as a person, but as a, like, I think she's a good character, is like, she seems to me like one of those very like stereotypical hurt people thing, where you just be looking at her like, you got something going on at home and I need you to figure it out. Because like one of my biggest pet peeves, I've talked about this like numerous times, is when people take out their stuff on you. You know, they have a bad day or something bad happened to them, and like their coping mechanism is to then like lash out, and you're just sitting there like getting
hits that someone else is supposed to get.
Yeah. Like why am I catching, like, what do they call that? Like, why am I collateral damage in your issues, right? All that saying though, that's very true to life and realistic. Like that happens all the time. And so as and writing this character, I appreciate that, because it's like we all know like a Laura who you were like, girl, if you don't take a deep breath and go talk to a professional and like leave me out of it. But it also feels like very clearly like if she wouldn't have decided to personify all of her issues in Amari, when Amari was like early on being like, we should work together, like your sister's missing, my brother's missing, we both are affected by this, like how, we're in what chapter are we in now, 18, 16, 17, whatever, like we could have found that out day one. How dare you waste my time because you don't want to go see a professional.
Day one,
right?
But
day 3, whatever. But like you wasting my time because you don't want to go seek professional help. It's rude.
But perhaps as a lot of the case in multiple families, seeking professional help is not considered an option in her family, which is why her skeezy father's the way he is, and again her mother who allows them to be this way.
I agree. I just hate it. Hate that for Amari. Like talking about how your brother is the reason why my sister didn't get to see me get my badge. Well, you are the reason why my brother ain't here to see me whoop your tail. Because we could have been handled this. You would have shared some information.
Yeah. So Billy Pogo kind of he wins the thing because he has unnatural luck. So he tripped and stumbled his way past every bag. That's honestly, it's a good.
I could have really used that
ability.
as a clumsy child.
Yeah.
I was a clumsy child. I'm still a clumsy adult, but a little less clumsy.
Same. And
I really could use like failing upwards.
Man,
love it.
Love that.
So now it's Lara's turn when she leaves, and then Dylan comes to talk to her and is like, she's not as bad as she seems. She is, but she's not usually this bad. And then Amari asks if Lara was telling the truth about Quinton and Maria. But Dylan also says Maria is grown and they were partners, so they're gonna have each other's backs, period. like he's like, I mean, yeah, but no.
Dylan's like, do you know that song by Beyonce, Grown Woman?
That's my sister. That part. So basically he does not blame Quinton for what happened. And is like, you know, I miss Maria. Amari's like, I miss Quinton too. So they're having a little bonding moment, you know?
Help each other.
Just
commiserating.
You know?
And like talking about how they're kind of feeling alone. Dylan talks about how even though Lara and he are twins, they're very different and aren't super close. And how he's more like Maria. And saying that, so more like Maria, happy to stay in the background. And then it's like, I know she's famous, but like she was more than like happy to give Quinton the spotlight. You know, she was doing her job, and then this happened, but she wasn't like seeking it out. So then cheers go up in the training gym, which means Lara must have made it too. And then Dylan starts for the door. He stops and he's like, "You're a natural in sprints. Just take your time. And like, don't think before you go past the last bag. Just take a leap of faith, and then like, you know, you got this." So then he goes, and he makes it across, and then it's Amari's turn. I mean, like, you know, he's
trying.
Yeah.
An attempt was made.
He's still been he's been going back and forth a lot, and like, we are not at the end of the chapter yet. But it's a lot of back and forth.
I think though, like, this conversation made me think about like when he's saying like he's more like Maria and stuff. It's like he also, like, I have a brother like this. Like, they just seek peace, and so he's not sticking up for Amari because he doesn't have the energy. It feels like he's not sticking up for Amari in my reading because he doesn't have the energy to like do battle with Laura, and it's easier to just like let her be over there doing whatever, and he's just going to be quiet. And because they're twins, he like also recognizes that he can't really separate himself from her, and people are going to assume that like what she does and what she says he also believes and supports, and so it's like, damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Should speak up, but
why he should speak up.
Like, I'm not like, you know, it's
like he just doesn't have that, like, he doesn't have the energy or the willpower to like
challenge.
Yeah, which is like, you know, do better, sir. Like, stick up for what's right. And,
he needs Moreau's words more than Amari does in this moment. Be better.
Be better. You know.
So yeah, so now it's Amari's turn. She is nervous. Obviously, she gets to the top, then she accidentally looks down, and it's kind of like, okay,
That's
yikes.
first problem.
She gets by the super slow bags first. Is able to get through the ones as they speed up. She's cool. Her arm is clipped by the 9th bag, but she's able to catch herself. And then she gets past bag 10, stumbles past 11 by accident, and then she stops in front of bag 12, which is like the main one. It's moving so fast she can barely keep track. She's just like, okay, we're gonna do it. She forces herself to stagger forward. She definitely got immediately, but the hover feature activates, so she doesn't like fall she doesn't fall and hit herself. She just kind of is hanging upside down. Magnus is like, it's a good shot. Almost got there on your first day. And she's like, too bad it wasn't good enough. Which I just feel like she's being hard on herself because she's one of 5 people to make it or to even try. And one of them actually bit it. One of them has unnatural luck. So can you even really like compare yourself to him? And the other two,
the other one has supernatural athleticism.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. So it's like, I think again, it's I get it because she's has all this pressure and she's trying to get ahead and she's trying to prove that she belongs or whatever, but like there's all these kids standing there watching you who didn't even try. So
ooh, that's another point. I'm sorry.
You know what, Bayana? If you don't be talking to my therapist behind my back, just say that. I'm sick of getting drug on this podcast here.
I'm just saying.
Leave me alone.
That reminds me how much of like in chapter 15, I'm just real quick, so I meant to bring this up before, was that part of her debrief in the last chapter before she went down to the chamber was after Magnus said, like, if you want to back out, you can. And she was like, I won't let you down. Like, proving herself is part of like her whole behavior of like why she throws herself into like this talking to Moreau, why she throws herself into like putting her whole self into these challenges and trying to be authentic with Laura, even though she shouldn't be. She's trying to prove herself to everyone who shows that they want her to like choose like why should she be here, showcase why you should be here, and it leaves her for all these moments of vulnerability that she's doing is in bad faith to Laura, who actively is going to just dismiss her. And it's just really sad that this whole thing was set up by Van Helsing saying that she needed to prove herself, and it keeps getting reinforced, and then she keeps reliving the like disappointment from that.
Right, of not doing it or not getting where she feels like she should be.
And Porshèa, if you're gonna collude with Bayana and talk to my therapist behind my back, I'm gonna need you to stop as well. I think it's like also proving herself to people, but then also in a way like we said, like with Amari fights, it's like proving them wrong about her too. Like for Magnus, it's I don't want to let you down. For Director Van Helsing, it's like I'm gonna prove you wrong, right? Like you're wrong about me. And so it's the same kind of like impulse, right? But there is a little bit of a like you're gonna eat your words for the people that are against her, like Laura and stuff, which has a little bit more like petty in it, which I appreciate. But it does also still give them power over her. So like it still ends up being a net negative, but I don't think that she believes that she has to like prove her worth to people like the Van Helsings as much as like prove them wrong about how they see her. Just like it's a little different, but still, like I said, like gives them too much power over her and her actions.
Yeah. So Amari's in a bad mood, and is worried too, because again, she needs to pass Friday's tryout, or else she is gone, and her memory is gone, and she no longer can look for her brother. So she is kind of just feeling like she's running out of time. She needs to get answers. So she pulls out her phone and messages Magician Girl 18.
No.
So she's like, how do I know you aren't Moreau's apprentice? She kind of regrets sending it after she does, but it is what it is. She was like, partly because she feels bad about like accusing somebody of something. But 15 minutes later, her phone buzzes. But it's not a new message. It's a notification suggesting that she sends a friend request to Lara, which is like,
oh, I hate that so much.
Like,
I hate
come
whenever I
on.
have notifications on for
and they're
things,
nothing
I'm
that
like,
I need. It's like,
right. And if I change the setting all the way off, then I won't see the notifications I want to see.
Mhm.
However, if I
Yep.
keep it on, I have to keep seeing the ones I don't care about.
It's
Like,
what does that
I
have to
don't
do
need
with me?
this. Right.
LinkedIn. Do you know how big Indiana University is? I don't know all them people. Leave me alone. Did we go to school at the same time? Even they'd be like, you might know this person, and they graduated in 2023. I'm old. No, I don't know them. What?
So Amari's kind of like, she glances over at her joking with the group of junior agent trainees on the other side of the food court. Then ends up, cyber stalking her a little bit and is like, oh, she really does she has 2.3 million followers. So it's basically just like she's kind of looking through her page or whatever, and again, feeling that distance and difference between the two of them.
No, because I need you to talk about the one where she's on a street made of gold, blowing a kiss to the camera.
Right.
She out here on her influencer life.
She's going to Atlantis with her mom for to go shopping.
Like, is a street of gold where King Midas is? Like, is that all the? Is it all the same place?
Is he one of the 7 great beasts?
Did he create one of the 7 great beasts by touching it?
Yeah.
Talk about an annoying supernatural. Imagine you hit the crystal ball, and the crystal ball is like everything you touch turns to gold. God damn it!
Right, I'd be like, F this. We're gonna make some magic clubs or something. Give me something.
Dylan, on the other hand, doesn't even have a page. And then she finally gets a response from Magician Girl who says, I'm not, I promise. Tell you what, since you've proven, which is like, first of all, I'm not, I promise is not like,
I
promise.
So believe you now. Like, I so believe you.
Come on. And then it's like, since you've proven you can keep my secret, why don't we meet face to face? And I'm just like, stranger danger. Let's not do this. How about no? But Elsie, before Amari can even, she reads the message and kind of is just like in shock. Elsie shows up like, your aura is extremely purple.
What does that mean, Elsie? I need you to say purple means.
So it says that it can be tricky, but usually means someone's feeling overwhelmed. And because Amari still can't tell her about Magician Girl, she tells her that it's about the tryout.
Oh, wait, I just love that purple means overwhelmed because it's pink. I mean, it's blue and pink. So that's 2 different emotions put together. You're overwhelmed and purple.
I didn't think about it like that.
Nice. Portia's smart, y'all. I don't know if you knew that.
So yeah, Amari's like, it's the tryout. You know how bad I flunked the first test. And I'm sure you have to know. They say that you can't really prepare for the first junior agent tryout, but I'm sure you have to know something. Elsie's like, I mean, maybe you don't. Amari asks if Elsie knows what her tryout will be. And so Elsie's like, a test, but junior researcher and junior agent are very different. So Amari ends up asking Elsie like how she likes being training to be a junior researcher, and Elsie, I really love this part because Elsie's like gets really excited and starts talking about all the things that she's like learning and getting to see, and like she's getting to help brainstorm with the adult researchers and all this stuff, and her being excited makes Amari feel better. And I really love that because it's like
celebrating other people's wins.
Yeah, and like it definitely could have been a moment where she could have been like, "Oh, this sucks." Like she's enjoying her time here, and I'm not. But instead, she's like,
"We've heard other middle grade besties being that way."
Yeah, there's like, and like people in real life, like it happens. Where people are like, "Oh, they're having a great time, and I'm not," and then you get jealous and like resentful.
Why is it about you, sir?
Exactly, and so I love that she's able to like genuinely feel happy for her, and it like lifts her own spirits. She's not as like dejected. They're great. These are iconic best friends. They've only known each other 3 days. I really love this for them so much. Like, I'm not even joking. So about 10 minutes after 10 minutes of catching up, a few other of the researcher trainees show up and invite Elsie to go to so there's like some junior researchers who are demonstrating all 7 kinds of explosions, which didn't know there were 7 kinds of explosions. I don't even know to ask y'all what kinds there are, because I couldn't even tell you.
I feel like it has to be like bubbles, smoke.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know.
Flashes of light.
Maybe.
Sparkles.
An implosion and an explosion.
Right. So they're asking her if she wants to come see. Elsie's excited, but then she's like, no, it's cool. I'm going to hang out with my roommate. But Amari's like, it's fine. Go ahead. We can hang later. I should probably go hang out with the junior agent trainees. Like, anyway, I should try.
Study something.
So Elsie goes. Amari's still trying to figure out if she should meet with the magician girl. But is like, this is, there's a lot of reasons to be hesitant, to say the least. So she heads over to the junior agent table, or agent trainee table, just trying to like psych herself. She's like, it'll be fine. Like, we'll do this. But Brian Lee notices her and gives Lara a nudge, and then Lara's like, you can't be serious. Amari's like, I thought I'd sit with you guys today. And of course, then Lara's rude as hell. It's like, only people with legal abilities are allowed. Besides, we wouldn't want to catch whatever it was you gave the crystal ball. A few of the others laugh. Some put their feet on empty chairs to keep her from sitting. Even the kids who cheered her on in the training gym won't meet her eyes. Even Dylan,
Cowards.
not doing anything. So again, it's like, you're saying all this stuff, but then you're trying to like
talk about it, but you don't be about it.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to big her up and help her out when it's one-on-one, but the second you're in front of other people, you're not doing anything or standing up for her. Like, no thanks. And so it's Jefferson Academy all over again. So again, Amari's feeling isolated and bullied.
Trauma.
She leaves the food court. She's like, they're not gonna let
her join.
They're not. She doesn't want to let them see her cry. Then she gets a message from Magician Girl. They're never going to accept you, but I will if you give me a chance, which just feels so manipulative and yikes. But Amari at this point is like, you know what? Whatever. When and where. So they're going to meet tomorrow. And that's where we end this chapter.
Hate it.
Yeah. Amari deserves better.
Mm-hmm.
Not these bullying kids. So MVP.
I had Amari as my MVP, but now I kind of want to make it Amari and Elsie. Can I make it 2 people?
Yeah.
But I think I do because I just love them so much. I just want the world for them.
Yeah.
I think that like what we talked about with Amari, just like trying, you know what I mean? And like, even though she feels isolated, even though she doesn't know as much as the other kids, she's wearing boots that smell like feet. Like, she's still trying her best and she's like giving it a go. And I think that like level of putting yourself out there, especially like, this like how the chapter ends and she's like, it's Jefferson Academy all over again. Like when you have that level of like trauma and you are used to not being accepted. I know for me, like a lot of times, like the impulse is to just like not be perceived and try to like fade into the background. And she, again, is very like single minded and finding her brother and like knowing that she needs to know as much as possible in order to do that, but also is just like taking on these experiences. And then sharing it with Elsie, and Elsie being happy or being supportive of her and listening to her, and her being happy for Elsie, who's having a completely different experience in her training, is just, I just love them. I love them so much.
Yeah.
I also made Amari Renee Peters my MVP because she just like, she's been handed a lot of like just a bad set of cards, and she's making her best that she can with it. And she's playing the game as far as she's learning the game as she goes, and she's playing the hands that she's dealt. And I'm with her. She's doing an amazing job. And when she's talking about her isolation that she felt, and the fact that like if Quinton were around, she knows it would be a little better for her. It just like brought home like how much like, you know, we know through much how much through this mission she's here for Quinton, but how much Quinton would be there for her is also a part of why she's going so hard to find him.
Mm-hmm. I also made Amari my MVP. Pretty much for all the reasons y'all are saying. I feel like she is, I mean, she's doing what she can do with like what she's been given, and honestly, she's like kind of killing it. Like, it really sucks that she's having to deal with these like bullies and like with these adults who aren't really taking her seriously. But she's also like making a lot of progress and not letting all of that stuff get her down. And so, you know, I don't think she should meet Magician Girl, but she's got to do what she got to do. So yeah. Who did you bench?
I bench Magician Girl 18 because come on now. Stranger Danger 101.
I promise I'm not the magician's
I promise I'm not the magician's apprentice. I don't believe you.
How are you making me promises when I have not met you? Why would I trust a promise from a stranger? I barely.
Why are you obviously like around in my moment of despair and like coming to me in a DM, but not like sticking up for me? Mm-hmm. You don't have to out yourself as a magician, but you could at least be like, "Hey, Laura, that's not cool." You're just like using Amari's isolation to like your benefit to get what you want. Mm-hmm. It's very manipulative. It's very, I don't trust you. It's very Moreau's Apprentice. Mm-hmm. Calling it like I see it.
I benched the Van Helsing
what's his name from To Catch a Predator? What's his name? Chris Hayes. Oh my gosh. Chris Hayes? No, I don't know.
I benched the Van Helsing twins. Lara for being a bully and also like putting a lot on something that Amari had nothing to do with, like projecting. And then Dylan for not actually like standing up for her. Like if you're gonna be nice to her, if you're gonna try to like be friendly, then you need to like be a friend. So both of them.
I see you and I peeped you, both of you. But I am going to bench again the adults of the Bureau. This time specifically, I'm benching just like the idea, like in the concept of separating all these trainees into these groups. It has to be done, but the fact that like it didn't even occur to the researchers to just like bring Amari to the table to come see this thing. Like there's no reason why Elsie couldn't have just been like, oh yeah, just come with us. Like why is it that like in the minds of like the Bureau training that it is about staying with your select group and not making inter-bureau like relations and making those cross-departmental relationships. And I think that is a failing of the adults for not modeling that. Like we don't see a lot of inter-bureau like things. We only see like the directors of the different departments coming together, that one scene, but we don't actively see any interdepartmental relationships. And I think that actually moves how the trainees move. And it's a shortcoming on their part, the Bureau's part overall.
Thank you for listening. Join us next week when we discuss Chapter 17.
Wizard Team is brought to you by Black Nerds Create. If you want to keep up with our other content, you can check out our website at blacknerdscreate.com. Follow us on Twitter at BLKNerdsCreate, at Yana Wrote It, at Robyn_Rambles, and at Porshèa. Follow us on Instagram and Tumblr at Black Nerds Create. Subscribe to our monthly magic newsletter, and don't forget to rate and review.
Bye.
Bye.